here today because I feel that I have reached a level of contentment with myself. I feel a sense of freedom in my life. And the contentment and the freedom led me to have a sense of peace. I think all of you, if I may say loudly, do you seek peace in your life? Is that what you look for in your life? Can I ask? What do you seek in your life? Not just happiness, right? Because happiness has the opposite of sadness. What do you seek in your life? Let me just ask. Anybody? Excuse me? That's beautiful. Thank you so much. Anybody else? No wrong answers. No wrong answers. It's a personal, unique perspective. Anybody? I know you need to think a little bit. We can answer this later, okay? I want to give you a sense of peace. I know it's a very short time that we're together, but that is really, really, really my aim, because I have been through so much in my life, and you'll know why later, that allows me to be able to stand here and to gift something to you. So my aim is to give you a sense of not just happiness, not just motivation, but to try and help you to understand yourself more so that you can let go of certain things or accept certain things that you cannot change about yourself. Because acceptance, like for example, I see a lot of ugliness inside of me, especially in the last 2 or 3 years. And I say ugliness, I use this word to describe parts of me that I don't like to see. That's why I call it ugliness. But I have accepted those things. And that's why I'm content. When I'm content, I feel free. When I feel free, it leads to a sense of peace. To me, these are the processes in my head anyways. Maybe you have different processes, okay? So once again, I am trying to give you something. So imagine me today. I am a grown tree. I have deep roots in the ground. So this is just an analogy. I'm a grown tree and I have deep roots in the ground and I have fruits that I can give to you. The fruits that I can give to you is not hitting you in the head. It's like, boom, wake up, people. No, it's not like that. It's a gentle dropping on the ground. And I want you to exercise your freedom to choose which fruit you would like to pick up from the ground that I have dropped. Okay? So exercise your freedom today to choose. When I'm standing here, I'm not saying you have to listen to what I have to say because what I say is right. No. That would be too egotistical and it wouldn't be right. Because everybody has the right to choose what is right for them. Okay? But I have fruits that I can give you that you can choose to pick up. So pick up the ones that you feel is fitting for you and for your life. Some of you look confused already. Are you guys okay? Doing so okay so far? I hope I'm not, going a little bit too deep. But let's go into the key points in my life that push me to have growth mindset. So let's go straight into the growth mindset part of today. I'm sure you know the difference between growth mindset and fixed mindset. You understand the words, okay? But I'm going to go into that later. I want to share with you still who I am. And I have divided my life into key parts. I'm not divided my life. I'm sharing different key items of my life, key stages of my life, that you can almost imagine how I grew the growth mindset. So, the first part is when I was 10, I immigrated to the US. So my whole family moved from Hong Kong to the US when I was 10 years old. It's not my choice, it's my parents' choice. Okay? It's something that happened, something that I accept. And I remember the first time I was in the US, it was so cold that even the air felt different. It was so cold because it was March. And for the first time, I realized I'm in a totally different place. I'm sure you guys have you lived in other countries? Or you only stay in Singapore? Some of you are from China, okay. And then, how about others? I just want to know your background a bit. Are the rest all from Singapore? Malaysia? Yes, and Malaysia. Okay, so that's good. So at least some of you have lived in different countries. The first time I moved to US, I don't speak English. Okay. I moved to Ohio. Have you heard of Ohio? Have you been to Ohio? No. It's not California, it's not New York, it's not sexy, there's no big cities. It's all white people. There was like two black kids, one Indian kid, no Mexican kids yet. So it's a very white-dominated environment. This is 1991, okay? At that time, people around me, kids, I'm not saying adults, kids, they start to tell me who I am. You're ugly. You're stupid. You don't speak English. And you know what the funny thing is? I understood what they said. When they say, you're stupid, I knew it was something bad because of the way that they say it, the facial expression, the body language. And I didn't understand the word stupid, but I eventually understand that they were mocking me. They were putting me down. It was negative. I can see it just from the body language. And that's why I'm very good at body languages now, because this is the fourth country that I've lived in, Thailand, and I can just understand what people are thinking, feeling through just their body language, right? Because 30% or less of the communication is through words. Everything else is through body, emotions. And so this was the first time that I learned to have a growth mindset. At 10 to, 10, 11, I mean, it's a constant thing. Everything is always a process and constant. But people started to tell me who I was. And you know the bad thing is? I forgot to hear the people who said, oh, Abel, you're so beautiful. Oh, Abel, you are so cute. Yeah, I was like, because our minds tend to remember the bad things, right? We tend to remember the criticisms. And let me tell you, I let these criticisms define me until my late 30s. I'm in my 40s now. I let these words define me until my late 30s. I'll tell you how to let it go later. This is one example of what I dealt with. So I dealt with racism, discrimination, judgment, bias. I mean, I dealt with all of that. And I dealt with it consistently from age 10 till year 10. Yeah, 16, 17. It was a regular thing that happened because I moved to a lot of schools. So I was telling myself, sometimes I look in the mirror and I say, you're not me. I mean, I have the ability to reflect. There's a mirror that helps me. I'm not ugly. Why are these people telling me I'm ugly? I still remember some of the words that people say. Your eye's so small, how can you see? That's one. I remember another kid in the math class. He sat behind me. He stuck his hand in his butt or his, and then he put his hand in my face. Because he sat behind me. He put his hand in my face, and his fingers went into my mouth, and I tasted his private area. And at that moment, I felt like I was nothing. I felt like I was nothing. Because I was lower than a dog to him. Okay? And I'm saying this still to you because I feel disgust when I say it. I still feel a sense of sadness. But when I say this 3 years ago, I cried. Now I feel a little bit less controlled by what this guy did when he was 16. He's a kid. Seriously, he's a kid. Does he know better? Maybe. But I have to find a part in my life to forgive him. This is one example for me, how I learned to grow. Because racism, I used to call myself a victim of racism, a victim of discrimination. I mean, I love to have these kind of identities. Our egos always have this identity. I'm able, I'm a mother, I'm a presenter, I'm a this, I'm a that, I'm a that, I'm a that, I'm a that, I'm a that. What if your kids die? I'm not trying to be nasty here. What if your kids die? You're still a mother. You have to remember, we all identify ourselves as something, but we attach ourselves too much to that. So if I say, I'm a victim of racism, oh, I'm so sad. Oh, I'm sorry. Is that how I want to be? Is that how I want to create my mind? Is that where I want to keep myself? That is the whole point. Do you want to keep yourself in a specific role that you play? Or are you not able to adapt? You can adapt. You will adapt. You will adapt to survive. I adapted because I had to survive. I had to feel okay with myself enough that I am willing to go to school. Because there were so many times when I did not want to go to school. I told my parents, I hate school. I hate school. I hate school. People did not treat me nice. They said, you smell, Abel. I don't smell. Why would I smell? I'm not even in puberty yet. I'm 10, 11, 12. Why would I smell? Do you believe these things that let people tell you, this is very, very important. You have a choice. Just like I said, you have a choice to choose what you believe yourself to be. So what are you going to choose? Are you going to choose the good stuff or are you going to choose the bad stuff? Second, the second time that I felt growth in my mindset, and I have the second slide that I'm going to tell you where you saw me working in the restaurant. It's at my parents' restaurant. My parents have a Chinese-American restaurant in Waseon, Ohio, and I worked there from 14 to 18. And let me tell you, when I think about it now, I felt like I was there for like 20 years, but it was only 4 years. Seriously, it was only 4 years. And I hated going to work. I made a lot of money, okay? I made a lot of money. I was like the richest kid in my school. When I was 18, I had like 25,000 US dollars in my account that I couldn't spend. I was working all the time. And I remember, just imagine yourself, you're a kid. Just imagine you are 14. What were you doing at 14? Tell me. Yes? Studying. Okay, besides studying. Sorry?
Playing.
Playing. Perfect. Anybody else? Getting in trouble. Wow, I wish I could. Anybody else? Sorry? I do that all the time too. How about this table right here? What were you doing at 14?
She's a sister.
Okay. So taking care of your brothers? Yeah.
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 14 years old, right?
Yeah, 14, 15.
My younger brother, got 4 years old. So
Oh,
I
wow.
can cook the porridge for them.
Oh, wow.
I
Responsible.
for my family.
Oh, wow.
So I need to do the housework. Right?
Yeah, housework.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. Like I said, we all have our unique growing up experiences, right? Our life experience. The reason I hated going to work is because I couldn't play. I had no time to play. I don't have time to watch TV. I mean, I wish I could. So the bus would drop me off at the restaurant. I mean, the bus driver would say, "You want to be dropped off at the restaurant or at home?" And it's usually at the restaurant. So, and then if I do not get dropped off at the restaurant because it's my day off, I would work about 4 to 5 days a week at that time, at age 14 to 18. And I remember when the phone rings at home, I would choke because I resented hearing the phone ring because that meant I had to go to work. I couldn't watch TV. I had a favorite show that I love to watch. I just want to be a kid. I just want to relax, but I couldn't. And like I said, I am telling you all the negative things first, okay? I'll tell you the positive things later. I'm telling you all the negative things first because what you will realize is when there's change in your life, you're gonna resist. No, I don't want change. I'm comfortable at home. I want to watch my movie. I want to watch my show. Why do I have to go to work? How come all my friends get to go to football games? They get to go shopping. They get to do this and this and this and this. This is my thought at 14, 15, 16. Just a kid, right? And one day, I remember it was probably months only. It wasn't years like I can imagine. One day I remember, because when I go to work, I feel like a heaviness. When I go to work, I feel so unhappy because it was always mundane, redundant work. Always cleaning the toilet, wiping the table, rolling the silverware, rolling the egg rolls, cutting the vegetables, and then millions of things that you always have to do. Always at the restaurant because we were busy. And one day, I decided, I don't know why, I just decided out of nowhere, I don't want to feel like this. I don't want to feel unhappy. I would yell at customers, okay? I yell at the customers and the customers, and then of course my parents find out somehow, and I get yelled at by my parents. And it was just a never-ending cycle of unhappiness. I wasn't happy, I yell at customers, I get less tips, my parents yell at me. And then I realized, why? You are in a situation that you have no control over. This was my life at that time. I'm not saying that you are in a situation that you have no control over. But I was in a situation that I had no control over because I was a kid. What do you do when you're in a situation that you cannot get out of, that you're forced into? Have you ever been in a situation like that? Have a think. I will have an activity for you later. So one day I decided I do not want to feel like this. I do not want to feel this unhappy. And I told myself, you have to be here, Abel. You have to help your parents. Your parents have nobody else that is reliable to help them. Because we live in a town of only about 10,000 people. And the people that works with us, they only stay for months. And it was a constant thing of new staff, new training, it was always turnover. And I was the only person that my parents could control that was reliable enough for me to stay there. Because my brother was 6 years younger than me. So I was in a situation that I could not get out of. So I had to change my mind. I know myself, okay, you have to be here. Look at your parents. Your parents work so much harder than you. You have to help them. You're the oldest daughter of the family. And at that moment, I changed my mind. It was like a sudden thing. It was really, really sudden. And I told myself, you're going to enjoy yourself while you're here. You're going to take care of the customers. You're going to help your parents. And it was in a way for me to turn from being a victim to being a savior. This is another ego identity, okay? This is another trick of the mind. I went from victim to savior. I will talk about this later as well, okay? And then after that, but because I switched from victim to savior, I felt happier. I was happy. Guess what? I made better tips. Customers were happy to see me. Mom and dad was happy. I worked really hard as usual, but I switched my mind. That was another example. Third, I was an exchange student in Japan. This was 21. So I studied 5 years of university, 3 years in Bowling Green State University. 1 year I got a full scholarship in Japan. And then the 5th year I came back to finish my school, so 5 years. And this is another shifting mindset moment. I was, do you guys know Hiroshima? Have you heard of Hiroshima? The place that was bombed by the atomic bomb. So there was a very beautiful park where the dome is, the Hiroshima Dome. Beautiful park with a lake. And I was sitting at one of the benches. And I was feeling lonely and sad because I missed my boyfriend, who is now my husband, and I missed my parents. And it was one of those cultural, what is the word? Not cultural barrier. Like you have to shift your culture, you know, you have to understand the culture, adapt to the culture. And that was an issue that I had. And I remember complaining again. Why do Japanese people think like that? Why do they think like that? You know, like the complaining stuff in my head, right? Why do they like that? Why do they like that? Why do they like that? I'm sure you experienced stuff like this in your school too. Or in your previous work with your families, your aunts, your relatives, your brothers, your sisters. Why do you think like that? You're looking outward. You're not looking at yourself, you're looking out. And you're pointing and you're blaming. Why do you think like that? You're wrong. You're stupid. You blah, blah, blah. And then I was sitting there having this full conversation with myself in my head, you know, at the bench in this park. And then it was another one of those perspectives where I said to myself, and this is another reason why I asked you guys to be honest with yourself today. You cannot grow your mindset and be reflective if you're not honest with yourself. And also if you're not aware of your ways of thinking. Because you need to want to have that change. You need to want to have that switch in your head. And it's not always easy because who wants to be wrong? If I say something to you and say, you did that wrong, are you going to be happy when I say that to you? And I say it with force, you're wrong. No, 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 that's not how you do it. What if your mother said it to you? Your mother said, no, this is not the right way to do it. Or whatever it is. Nobody likes to hear that. Everybody wants to feel right. Everybody wants to feel correct. I struggle with myself and my adamant stubbornness that I am right, because I have this big ego too. Maybe you don't have a big ego. Maybe you do. And I said to myself, who do you think you are, Abel? I said this to myself, sitting at that bench, at that park. Who do you think you are? Do you actually think the Japanese people are going to change their minds with you? Abel? Little 21-year-old Chinese girl? Yeah, sure, you got a full scholarship. You think you're all that. Yeah, you're smart. You got straight A's in Japanese. So what? Who gives a crap? I seriously was kind of yelling at myself in my head. telling myself, who do you think you are? This is always something that I do, because when I judge people automatically, and I still judge till today. I'm not standing here telling you that I don't judge. Sometimes you think, why did that girl have such huge boobs? Is it because she's insecure? I have these thoughts in my head, and then I think to myself, why do you care, Abel? Why do you care who they are, what they do? Why do you care? It has nothing to do with you. Are you insecure? I ask myself these questions. These are self-reflective things that I do that helps me to grow. And then I choose the thought that's beneficial for me. Because let me tell you, for me to praise myself and push other people down doesn't make me feel good. Okay? I do not like to be like, oh, you're so dumb, you're so stupid, and push people down, and then lift myself up. That's not the right way to live life. Yeah. I think I'm speaking too much now. How much time do I have? Mohammed. Okay. All right. I'm going to go into one more. Another time that I had a tough experience that made me grow. I just graduated from college. I was a corporate management trainee at the Hyatt Regency Columbus when I was like 22. I was a kid and I was a manager. And my boss, she hated me. She hated me. She was, and I'm labeling her now, she's a lesbian. I didn't know she was a lesbian. She hit on me all the time. And I honestly did not know that she was hitting on me. I've never been hit on by a woman before. She would like touch me like this and say, oh, you have nice boobs, something like that. And I had no idea that she was sexually harassing me. And she was also an alcoholic. And I know this because she would have these huge mood swings. Okay? And she would come in drunk sometimes even. And she treated me bad because I didn't kiss her behind. I didn't say sweet things to her. I didn't follow her like a dog, like the other two managers. Plus, I was politically inexperienced. I didn't know how to play the game. Okay? I know that people expect games to be played. Oh, you're so beautiful. How are you doing today? Oh, wonderful. I didn't do that. I didn't do that to her. I didn't know how. The other two managers did that. Oh, Monica, you're amazing. Blah, blah, blah. You're so good. All that. I didn't do any of that. I didn't know how. I was too honest. And she hated me. And even the staff hated me. And for 1 year, I was only at that job for a year. It was before I moved here. There were times when I went to work, I was in the toilet, and my hands would shake from fear of going to work. So I told myself, you're once again in a situation that you cannot change because you want to stay here. You want to stay here for at least 1 year. Because in the US, because I didn't plan to move here yet, in the US, if you work in one place for less than a year, your next employer is going to ask you, why did you stay there for less than a year? And it will affect my career. So I stayed there for a year. This is another key moment. So I had these 4 key moments in my life that really pushed me to grow. And I want to ask you, think about those moments in your life that pushed you to grow. Maybe it's not a situation. Maybe it's your family. Maybe it's your mom. Maybe it's your dad. Maybe it's a sibling. Maybe it's a friend. Think about it because we're going to be doing an activity soon.